Hello, it's your friendly neighborhood host, JT Wheatley, back again for another episode of the History Comics Podcast. This time with another edition of the classics with The Books of Magic, written by Neil Gaiman with art by John Bolton, Scott Hampton, Charles Weiss, and Paul Johnson. This is a now classic 4-issue miniseries written back in 1990 to 91 by Neil Gaiman, in which a 12-year-old Timothy Hunter is approached by four of the most powerful magical beings in the DC universe, Dr. Occult, the Phantom Stranger, John Constantine, and Mr. E, as he is apparently destined to become the greatest magician in the DC universe's history, and they hope to guide his path. The brilliance of this miniseries that with each artist, they take a different path of showing how explaining the magical universe. For instance, in the first issue with artists by John Bolton, the Phantom Stranger tells Timothy Hunter the history of the DC universe, and thus it's told in a very realistic, matter-of-fact art style. But then Scott Hampton, when John Constantine shows him like the powers of how to use trickery and so forth, the art is more loose and kind of let you trick a sleight of hand and so forth like that. And that's the brilliance of using different artists for each issue, because the art really does match the story, and the story itself changes too. Like I said, the first issue is a history chronicle, and also in the third issue is a fairy tale, literally, because Timothy Hunter goes into fairyland with Dr. Occult. And it all culminates into a great magical story and great writing beginning and end, and really emphasizes one of the great aspects of DC is its magical universe and so forth. So by itself, it's a great classic issue. Of course, Timothy Hunter will eventually go on for future DC adventures, but this book by itself is just a great read from beginning to end. And yes, there have been some accusations that J.K. Rowling took the image of Timothy Hunter, and of course he has a pet owl, as inspiration for Harry Potter, but it's something even Neil Gaiman has dismissed. But at the same time, as any great writer would tell you, good writers borrow, great writers steal. And, who knows, maybe J.K. Rowling did take inspiration for this, but she told a completely original story with Harry Potter, which itself is a classic series, but it also was books of magic. So this is collected in a great prestige format over the then Vertigo. But yeah, check out the Books of Magic. That is a true classic. And now it is January 14th, 2021, time for the favorite comic of the week, Crossover by Donnie Coates and Jeff Shaw, which finds Ellie trying to help the comic book girl back inside the town in the magical barrier, only to run into some interesting complications along the way as some other more comic book characters start to make their appearance. Donnie Coates has really come up with a cool original story here, and basically it's basically like what happens if the comic book characters showed up in the real world and all the chaos that would cause. And also she explains why the town where the barrier actually came from, because it's not exactly what you expected. There's a nice twist in the whole thing. Plus Jeff Shaw's art is nicely cartoonish and action-packed, and also great representation of some of the cartoon characters that show up, along with a great appearance by who's the character who's been helping out all the other comic book characters. It's a nice twist. It wasn't even expected, but it makes a perfect fit. But all in all, this series has been a great, fun tribute to comic book superhero-dom and how they would match it in the real world. So definitely check it out. And with that, that's the end of the classics for this week. Join me again next week for another edition of the classics. Till then, go out and enjoy yourself with another good comic book. And of course, check out the Books of Magic. That is a true classic.